What's up, everybody? Tori McElhaney here with another episode of the Coffee with the Falcons series, and I'm so excited to bring with me Mr. Greg Beadles, everybody's favorite team president. Greg, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Tori.
Yeah, doing good?
Yeah.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
Got the coffee order. First question.
Got the coffee.
Off the bat.
Yep.
How do you take your coffee?
So I do generally drink it black.
Okay. You and Terry Fontenot.
Me, yep. I saw you with Terry on, and definitely in the morning I start that way.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, after 2 or maybe more cups. Sometimes I'll treat myself with a latte every now and then. But I just drink it black, and I went to school down at LSU,
Mm-hmm.
and so there black coffee is not bitter enough, so they add chicory.
Really?
Yes, have you heard of this?
No, I've
Chicory?
not heard of this. No.
So chicory is a bitter root.
Okay.
And so like if you go to Cafe Du Monde and you get a cafe au lait, it's actually coffee with chicory. So it's even more bitter.
That makes so much sense.
Yep.
Because the first time I went to New Orleans, I got that. And I didn't like it, which makes sense. If y'all have seen any of these coffee episodes, y'all know I have a little bit too much probably in my coffee. I can't do it black yet.
Okay, so I was going to check up with you on that.
Right.
Because it was, the beginning of this year when you had Terry on, you guys were talking about it. And he got on you a little bit about all the stuff that you put in. And so I'm supposed to come down, we're your mentors.
Right.
I'm trying to help you.
Of course. Keep me in check.
That's right, especially with coffee.
Right. I can report that there isn't nearly as much in this as there was the first time that Terry and I sat down. I only now we have an espresso upstairs, and I kind of make a latte, so I just do almond milk and then 1 sugar. Just, I'm going to try.
I don't know how many you were putting in before. So
it was a lot more than 1, I can promise you that.
Progress.
It is.
Yeah, we got progress.
So I know this place basically runs on caffeine because we're all super, super busy.
Yeah.
But this has been a very special off season because of the updates, renovations, expansions to the building itself. Last year got this beautiful studio, which I have thoroughly enjoyed.
It's been great.
But then we go to the other side of the building, and there's been so much work done. New weight room, new locker room, expanded equipment facilities, renovated cafe, which love those guys in the cafe. I'm curious for you, you're kind of looking at all of this. There's no blueprint yet. There's nothing. When you're thinking about getting this project started, what's the first thing that you're thinking of?
Yeah, it's crazy how much this building has changed. So, Spencer Treadwell, our VP of operations, we worked on this when it first opened up.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like our first kind of construction project together, and there's been a number since then. But, the main thing was that we opened up in 2000, and just so much has changed in the business on the football side and otherwise. I tell the stories about when I first started. I still have the phone list from Arthur's first day as owner, and we had 72 people on the list. And now, several hundred in A&B Sports and Entertainment, not counting, game day workers, 4,000 or 5,000 people. So it's a lot different than when we opened up here. On the football side, roster sizes are much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
We got practice squad that doubled and then stayed that way after COVID. And so we just have a lot more people, a lot more going on in the building. And so we just got to the point where we had to do something. We had to expand all those areas that you mentioned. So in the cafeteria, we could easily have upwards to 200 people plus a day eating in there. And so all in the background, which, even if you're coming to visit, you might not see all the storage capacity, all the cooking capacity, all those things that we added, which is very important. And then out in the front, it's just fantastic. Like, you can go in there any hour of the day now, and there's people hanging out in there having meetings, and the players like to come and hang out there. So that's when you know that it turned out well. And the food, of course, has been fantastic, like it always is. So just to your question, the main thing was we just needed to create more space, and more room for everybody to be able to do what we need to do.
So you kind of present this to Mr. Blank, and Mr. Blank being who he is I imagine is just like, sure, do what you got to do. Let's make this place better. What goes into that process, though, to kind of get collectively everything together and come up with a plan? Because well, I don't know if people know this or not, but like we were still fully operational as an entire organization during the time of all of these renovations, when basically like I would say over half of the building is under construction. We still had players coming in and out, needing to work out, OTAs happening, press conferences happening. So getting to the process of even starting, how do you get to that point?
Yeah, that was some of the hardest stuff, was just thinking through the logistics of how we were going to get this, how we were going to make this happen. And so, like you said, back in the summer of 22, so more than 2 years ago, we really started planning this and looking at it full force. Got Mr. Blank's approval because it wasn't a small expenditure, and so thanks to him for always supporting us. And he was out here yesterday, and he made some comments about how happy he was everything turned out. So that's great to know that he appreciates it as well. But so we had to start, we did a lot of travel around different places. We went to, other NFL teams, some of the newer facilities, of course. A lot of the colleges are just ridiculous
Truly.
with their facilities. Our friends at Clemson and UGA hosted us, and we checked all that out. So it's just a lot of research, first of all, and planning. The architects that we hired, Rossetti, have done some of the more recent locker rooms, expansions, and new builds that we like. And so we chose them after looking at several different options. And so just a whole lot of planning, a whole lot of dreaming up, and kind of like your house when you do a renovation, trying to figure out the flow and walls that already exist and all that. It's harder to do a renovation than just a new build.
Right.
So like our strength and conditioning room was on the side of the building where we didn't have any construction. It was a parking lot. So that one was pretty straightforward. But when we had to figure out, okay, how do we take this old strength and conditioning room, this old locker room, and combine them into one locker room, that was one of the more challenging aspects of the project overall. Yeah.
I'm glad that you bring up the locker room, because it is, I would argue, my personal favorite just of the entire project, because I think seeing the look on the players' faces when they walked in for the first time, and there was still at the time when players reported for training camp, there was still like some construction happening, then that was a big thing. Like we couldn't have fans out here because there was still a lot going on. But you were able to get it to a point of the players were able to move in, and seeing the look on their faces when they walked in, especially someone like Grady Jarrett, who had been here for 10 years, and to walk in and see what it looked like. I'm curious, from your perspective, having been there from the start of this project all the way through the end, what's the most rewarding part when everything's said and done?
Yeah. The most rewarding part is, whether it's Grady or the players or the staff, everybody just talking about how well it works and how beautiful it is and how functional and how it helps them get things done. And they know that they're appreciated, that we care about them, and then being able to perform at the highest level. It's hard for me to, choose which area we like better. It's like, which child do you like?
That was going to be one of my questions. I was like, what part of the new, I keep calling it the new building, even though it's technically the same building, but it's a lot more new than it is not new. But do you, if you had to choose a favorite child?
Yeah, the locker room really is a wow factor.
Yeah.
When you go in, and Spencer and then Joey and Jimmy Hay in the equipment room really just did a ton of work figuring out the lockers. And I know Grady did like his cribs episode and showed off all the little features in it, but it's just really cool. There's an air system that dries out their shoes and pads and everything. And it's really their home away from home because they spend so much time here. And so we wanted to make it comfortable. We wanted to make it functional. And then it's just got a great cool factor, with the ambient lighting and the Falcons up on the ceilings instead of on the floor and all that. So it turned out fantastic, and we're super happy about it.
I'm personally really glad that the Falcon is on the ceiling now, because it used to be on the floor. And I don't know if people at home know this. I don't know if I've ever even talked about this, But when you would walk into the locker room, the Falcon would be on the floor and you couldn't step on it. You didn't walk on the Falcon.
Bad mojo, yeah.
Bad mojo, don't step on it. Well, one of the first times I ever went in the locker room, I was like walking in backwards, may have been like moonwalking in,
no.
can't remember. But I got really, really close to stepping on it. And I'll never forget, a couple of the defensive linemen at the time just absolutely shrieked at me and was like, if you touch it, if you do that, you got to drop and give us 10.
Absolutely.
And as in like 10 push-ups. And I was like, I'm not touching it. So personally, thank you for putting the Falcon on the top.
You don't have to worry about that. We do have the Falcon in the tile upstairs right in front of the executive boardroom and outside Raheem's office. And so that one's pretty touchy, especially you have guests come in for meetings in the conference room and they're just walking right up the middle. And so a lot of times I have to kind of grab them from the back. Whoa.
Stop it. Don't touch it.
Can't have that.
Yeah. When we have everybody coming in for like draft night, it's like, because we always usually take a photo right there too. A lot of group photos. I know scouting does theirs. We do ours. And it's like trying to like wiggle around, not stepping on it. It's hilarious.
We fixed it in the locker room at least this time.
It's fixed. We're good. So when one of the most special touches I feel like of the entire project is in the calf. And I think a lot of people would look at this and be like, oh, really cool design, awesome. But there are all of these almost like trading cards on the wall, designed very well, of former Falcons legends. And that is such a cool look to add to a space where you have players and coaches coming in every day, spending a lot of their time in the calf, refueling, all that kind of stuff. Where did that idea originate from? So
they are actual trading cards.
Are they really?
They're the real ones. There were one or two that we kind of had to create one because we couldn't find one. But that has been a passion project for Spencer Treadwell and B. Ruth. And so they were out searching on eBay, trying to find these old cards for all these guys. And you're right. I mean, it just turned out really cool to be able to honor former players by having them up there. You'll notice our Ring of Honor players have some larger cards.
They do.
But we've got hopefully just about everybody up there, everybody that we could find one on for sure. So it does add so much. Like when we first opened it up and players and staff were walking through, they all kind of gravitated over to that wall, checking that out. And it's cool for the current players, the young guys, to see, hey, the Falcons care about us. And we've got some other spots in the building where we have a roster of everybody that's ever played for the Falcons on the main hallway where the players go through all their meeting rooms and everything. So that history and that legacy is important. And so being able to incorporate that a cool way into the cafeteria was creative through our architects and those two guys.
It's fun. I think it's just a very special touch. So I was really curious about the process and getting everything to this point. And I was hoping that you could kind of just talk about maybe how many hands touched this project from an architecture standpoint, from a design standpoint. Like when you look back on how many people were in and out of here making this thing work over months and months of time, what does that number kind of look like?
Yeah. It would definitely be in the hundreds.
Yeah, it's a lot.
No doubt, because several folks from the architect team. We have a great project management team, Impact, that we've used on a lot of different projects, including Mercedes-Benz Stadium, that little project down there.
That little one.
Yep. And Whiting Turner was our GC, and then all the subs that worked on it. So literally hundreds of people. And then I think, just thinking about all the staff that did so much, I mentioned research and things like that they did, but also we just had a lot of physical work to do, going back to during the regular season last year, we started working on the new strength and conditioning room during the season.
Yeah.
So during practice, they were out there hammering away, and we normally play music and things anyway to kind of simulate some crowd noise. So we asked, hey, is it okay if we do this? Like, yeah, sure. So all the football guys have been very flexible. But one thing we didn't mention is during this off season, we had all of the football operations over in the indoor facility.
Yeah.
So we took up half the field over there, and we had our cafeteria and training room and equipment room, weight room, locker room, everything over there.
Mm-hmm.
And so all the staff of those departments helped us organize all that and move it over there. And then we had to move it all back. Of course, we had professional movers. We weren't having to lift,
Right.
every 125-pound dumbbell. But
what if it was just all of us, just like trying
hey,
to-
Tori, I'm calling you on a Saturday.
Right, yeah.
Hey, I need some help.
Hey, quick question
come
for
over?
you.
But the entire staff had a hand in it,
Mhm.
one way or another, helping us to figure it out. So just, people talk about team efforts, but it was definitely just a huge team effort. And we've still got a few little punch list items.
Yeah.
Walking in the hall right now, you see some guys doing a little bit of wiring work
Right.
when the guys are in team meetings and we can be out of the way and finish it out. But it's getting close.
I'm curious from your perspective too. You're someone who has been in this organization for decades and worked your way up to where you are now. What is the most surreal part of, and you kind of hit on this a little bit earlier, but what's the most surreal part of looking at where this organization started from and where it is today?
Yeah. If you go back to that first year when I was an intern versus now, like that would be too much of a jump to comprehend.
Yeah.
So the process, has been a process. It has taken all of those decades. Thanks for pointing out how long I've been here.
I did the same thing to Raheem in his introductory press conference. I was like, sorry to put a date on you, but...
But you're old. Yeah, no. I'm older than Raheem, so I'll let him off the hook. But, we get to work in a fantastic place and a fantastic industry and with the National Football League. And so it's just, it's grown so much over time because of what a great product it is and all the people around the league. It's, if you just had one team in the NFL or any sports league, it wouldn't be successful, right? So it does take all of our partners, and we see all 31 other teams as our partners, everybody at the league office that helps us out. It has just been phenomenal to watch it and participate in it over all these years, how it's grown to the business and organization that it is today.
You talk about starting as an intern. Personally, I think I know your answer to this, but I don't know if everybody else will.
Okay.
What is the weirdest job that you had for this organization? Or like weirdest ask or craziest ask?
Oh, gosh.
I'm curious to see what you answer.
Yeah, you said you think you know.
Think I
don't
know.
know. I don't know if I. Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think we might have talked about that on here today. Helping the video team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So early on, the first few years, as I mentioned, we were a small organization, so we all wore a lot of hats and did a lot of things. And so back in the day, I would help the video crew on game days take the still picture. So now what's on the Microsoft Surfaces.
Right. We're automated now.
We didn't have that back in the late 90s, right?
No Microsoft Surfaces.
No Surfaces back then. No iPads. And so we did have fax machines that printed out the pictures.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's what we would do on the sideline or up in the coach's box. But some of the stadiums weren't quite up to even that technology early on.
Yeah. I won't make you name the stadium. But I think you have to in order to tell this story.
Yeah, I think I've thrown it out there before. But in the Superdome in New Orleans, the end zone shot for the camera used to be up literally in the HVAC ducts. So you would have to climb up a ladder into it and walk around, and there was no wiring that could get the photos back down to the coach's box or to the sideline. And so we would print out the still photos from there and put them in a sock, that the equipment guys gave us, put a bar of soap in it and tie a knot in it, and during timeouts we would throw it down into the end zone, and the equipment guys would come over and grab it and take it over to the sideline and put it in a 3-ring binder so the coaches could look at the pre-snap and post-snap looks on defense. So I it's been so long ago, I was thinking about it, I'm like, is that really true? Did we used to do that? And I actually reached out to our former video director and asked him. He said, yep, absolutely. That's what I said, okay, before I say it, I just want to be sure I didn't dream this up, because it is pretty crazy.
It is pretty crazy. But I love that story because I think it's just like the quintessential, like, you do what you have to do.
No doubt.
What you had to do that day.
They needed pictures on the sideline, so we were going to figure out a way to get them down there.
You're just throwing socks from the top of the Superdome.
It's pretty good.
It's so funny. But no, I think it just goes to show, like, how much things have changed.
Yep.
But one thing that has, I think, remained consistent is the fact that y'all are always kind of looking to, in a way, take the next step, like always being willing to take the next step. And
Yep.
That's something that I think even now, looking at where the team is going into 2024, we're recording this at the very, very end of training camp. The season is right around the corner. And I'll be honest, it's been a very, very busy training camp preseason, busier
Yes.
than any one I know I've worked before.
Yep.
Trading for Matthew Judon, signing Justin Simmons, extending AJ Terrell. I mean, these are some big time moves to go along with getting Kirk Cousins in the offseason and drafting Michael Penix Jr.
Right.
Overall, as you're sitting there watching Terry, Raheem, Kyle Smith, Ryan Pace, everybody on that side of the building do their thing, get these guys in, starting to get a little bit more live action football.
Yep.
What makes you excited about what's being put together right now?
Yeah. Well, just how you started out there with one of our core values is innovate continuously.
Mm-hmm.
And we really, obviously we do that, technology at the stadium, we're doing that here with all of our new building stuff. There's been, folks report about, Raheem brought the idea of the big replay boards outside. And so things like that we're trying
The
to...
GoPro.
The GoPro, yep, that's right, on the quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
So all things we can try to get better. We're not doing technology or innovation for technology's sake.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing it because it helps us and it's an improvement. So the one thing still, even today, some things that we're doing things, always looking to do things maybe a little bit different. And so this year, like you're saying, just not only the busyness, but just there's been a lot of things happen that weren't to the script of what, the quote experts or other people think. And, if you start kind of looking at them and lining them up, somebody out there at some point is going to say, hey, maybe they're not doing everything along the book, but trying to, do what we think is right. And so everything from you mentioned some of them, the hiring of Raheem, that wasn't necessarily expected by everyone. Signing Kirk and drafting Michael and all the defensive guys
right.
That now we have addressed that folks thought we weren't addressing, but and through the draft the young guys that we added on defense as well. So yeah, all of that is super exciting, and just we have fantastic culture in the building, and that's a byproduct of Raheem and Terry and just all of the great people that we have in the building and in every single group.
Yeah.
And having things like our cafeteria and looking around and seeing people, sitting with it's not cliquey, like everybody in the building knows each other, and that's kind of like how it was back in the beginning for me. It you kind of have more of a family feel to it, and so excited about all that, and excited about in the marketplace just what we see, excitement around the team. Obviously we're getting a little bit more national attention. We have more national games.
Oh yeah, some primetime games,
which we haven't had in recent years, so that's exciting. And we know the fans are ready to come out and make it loud at MBS.
You bring up such a good point about the culture, and I know just from a personal standpoint, I've just been so happy to come into work and to be around
Awesome.
every single level of the building. And you're exactly right. Like, I know going down into the cafeteria and, you know, I'll sit with like Caleb McGarry and, you know, tell him that we've named one of the pods of our Nespresso machine after him because the tagline for it is called Rich and Woody. And so we said Caleb McGarry's Rich and Woody.
Yeah,
so, but like, I don't know, it's interactions like that are just so easy. And I think that, I know you're giving credit a lot to Raheem and Terry and all that, but I think you've also played such an integral part in that as well. And I'm very thankful for that. And I don't know, I just feel like there's just a fun energy about the building these days. But it's fun. It's like we're working really, really hard and putting in long hours, but we're having fun while doing that. And I think that's kind of been the calling card of the last 7 or 8 months of this building.
I mean, I love hearing that from you and from others, just how everybody enjoys coming to work. Sawyer was in here before getting us all hooked up, and I was talking to him, you know, being here 9 months, and he was saying the same kind of thing. So it's great to hear that from the staff. But it is like, you know, we're, especially now since training camp has started, you know, you always know it's going to get busier, and then it just takes off like a rocket ship. You're like, how can I not remember it was this crazy?
Exactly.
You know? But so we're all, you know, we're all doing a lot of things, but it's good things, and we all enjoy the people that we're working with and having a good time. And look, we've already had some, you know, some injuries and things like that are setbacks.
Right. Not everything's been perfect.
Not everything's been perfect, and there's going to be at some point during the year we're going to get hit in the mouth when we're not expecting it. But when you have the type of folks that we have, you feel really good about we're going to be resilient, we're going to bounce back, people are going to take setbacks in stride. You know, there's already just been there's always little things that just pop up, and you know, Terry and Raheem and I meet regularly, and we just talk about it. We just throw it out there. Like if there's a question, there's a challenge, you know, hey, why are we doing this or that? Like, oh, that's a good question. Let me dig into it instead of just letting it brew and not talking about it. So just having those kind of relationships, open and honest, transparent, being accountable. We do it across the business, not just, you know, coach speak about players and coaches. It's our whole business where we try to do those things. So it's been fantastic.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Now, only have a few more minutes left, so this is my last question. But as I'm sure you've seen, Kirk Cousins' playlist for his birthday went a little bit viral on Twitter. He had a lot of great selections. Everybody out there, especially from the media side, we were having a blast because that's all music that I think we all listened to when we were in like middle school, high school, a little bit. But you're kind of our resident music guru.
Oh, no.
And I was curious if you were to make a birthday playlist for yourself.
Wow.
Who are some of the artists that you would put on that playlist?
You didn't give me any heads up on this.
I did not.
I could have put a
off the
playlist
dome
together. Yeah, that's good.
Honestly, we'll workshop it next time we do this again.
All right.
I'll have a whole playlist and we'll put it up and.
Yeah, that'd be great because I'm a planner. Like
of course.
I got to like rank them and go through. No, this one's out. You got to move this one up and all that. So I would have a big, long session trying to figure that out.
We'll need to put time on the calendar.
Yes, yeah, that's right. I might have to have a retreat, you know, by myself to do that because it would be so important to me. But you know, Good Morning Football, like the third day in a row, I was just watching. Like they were making the hugest deal out of this. They were talking about it again today. How Kirk needs to pick the Super Bowl performer.
I saw that.
Did you see that? Yeah.
Sure did.
So when it first came on, I actually took a picture in my office of the screen and sent it to him. It was like, hey, this thing is blowing up.
Right, yeah. It's everywhere.
Okay, so I love music.
You do.
I grew up around music. My mom was a music teacher. My whole family is very musical. You know, did all the geeky things, playing in the band, you know, growing up. And she forced me to take piano, and I hated it and all that kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh, my mom forced me to take piano, and I hated it.
Yes.
You and me are the same.
Now I'm glad because it helped me to be able to read music.
Exactly.
And all that. So. But I play guitar, enjoy that, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes at night before I go to bed.
Yeah.
One of our daughters is a freshman in college, so she FaceTimed us last night, and she saw me holding my guitar. She's like, "Oh, Dad's playing his guitar."
What a surprise!
I'm like, "You miss it. I'm going to record some things and send it to you, and you're going to be happy." She's like, "No, not really." But yeah, so I have a pretty eclectic kind of taste, and it kind of weaves in and out different things depending on what's going on, what time of year and day.
I'm a big mood and vibe girly.
Yeah. So, I like kind of Americana, original kind of outlaw country stuff like Johnny Cash, or just like On the Wall, and then some artists like Jeff Buckley that would maybe be a little bit less popular. I don't listen to the radio very much, so I'm kind of an album deep cut kind of guy. I love artists that can perform live. Like I took a couple of my kids to the Zach Bryan show.
I was there too.
And
he was fantastic.
And he's not like one of my top artists or whatever, but man, he puts on a fantastic show and did a great job. I love, great songwriters.
Yep.
So somebody that can tell a story well, I'll listen to those. And then, sometimes like early in the morning, I get up early, and if I'm trying to do some work or focus on things, sometimes I'll have on like even Gregorian chants, so something obviously very, very different, but just something, to clear the head and get you focused and even thinking about things bigger than yourself, outside of yourself. So kind of all over the map. Yeah.
I love that. I think that's great. I love music is something that I think no one understands, and you can't articulate why music touches people the way that it does, but it just gets you, and there's a song that can relate to a feeling and emotion about anything. And that's what I love.
My kids are into music, particularly my two girls, and the one I was mentioning, Evie, that just went away to college. She had this playlist that's songs that remind me of Dad.
Oh,
and
so sweet.
When you go through, and I was looking at them like, okay, yeah, she got you. I'm proud that she, they picked up some of my musical interest, and she got it about 99% right. So that was pretty. And some of them are just memories in their childhood. When we'd make the the corny little parent videos of their first birthday, and I put music to it or something like that. Yeah. But
you've got me thinking like, if I were to do that for my dad, it'd be like Prince and like Leonard Skinner. It would be the top ones on there. I hope you're watching this, Dad, because I'm gonna make it for you. It's so good. I love that. Well, we're out of time. My coffee's drained, but thank you so much for sitting down with us, talking about facility renovations, expansions, excitement for the team, and also a little bit of personal stories from your years working here.
The last thing on coffee, the last time I was on with you, my 15-year-old son made fun of me because he said you were just holding coffee cup the whole time, you didn't even drink it. So I've taken about 47 sips, while also on camera, so that he knows I was actually drinking the coffee.
This isn't a prop. We actually do drink the coffee.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, and I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation.
Thanks, Tori. It's been a pleasure being on.